Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us. I'm Beth Jones.
And I'm Peter Dubois. First tonight, family members of Lewiston mass shooter Robert Card testified publicly for the first time before the commission investigating the tragedy.
Our Augusta reporter Corey Bouchard was in the room and has details.
I would like to open with recognizing the loved ones who were lost on October 25th. Our family will never forget your names.
An emotional apology from the family of Robert Card, who spoke publicly for the first time since the October 25th mass shooting, acknowledging their silence.
If we appeared silent, it wasn't because we lacked empathy. We were in shock and disbelief, unable to comprehend that Robbie was capable of such horror.
Nicole Herling, Card's sister, spoke about her interactions with her brother in the months leading up to the shooting and acknowledged his declining mental health. She also spoke about a forensic analysis of his brain by doctors at Boston University, who said his brain suffered from severe traumatic brain injuries, even worse than some soldiers with combat deployments.
I've brought the very helmet meant to safeguard my brother's brain to the Department of Defense. It failed.
Nicole's husband, James Herling, says the family is now focusing their efforts on helping other veterans get access to the medical and mental health care they deserve.
They have fought for us. Now we must fight for them. I am hoping that this commission will find that the DoD needs to enhance the protection of our soldiers.
Card's ex-wife also spoke about the impacts the October 25th events had on their son.
Today, and every day I'm gonna just be here for my kid. He's lost his father. He lost his dad before October 25th, for sure.
The commission is scheduled for one more public hearing, likely next week, before releasing their final report sometime mid-summer. In Augusta, I'm Corey Bouchard for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
The Maine Supreme Judicial Court has upheld the sentence of a woman convicted of killing her newborn in 1985. Maine State Police say on December 7, 1985, a newborn was found in Frenchville by a neighbor's dog, which carried the baby back to its home. Detectives tracked the dog's path to a gravel pit where the baby had been born and abandoned in sub-zero temperatures. For years, the child was known as Baby Jane Doe. DNA testing matched the baby to Leigh Ann Daigle in 2022. Police arrested Daigle on June 13, 2022, and originally charged her with murder. She pleaded guilty to manslaughter in April of 2023. A judge sentenced Daigle to 6 years in prison, followed by 3 years probation. She appealed her sentence to the Maine Supreme Judicial Court last Thursday, saying the court improperly applied sentencing guidelines from 2013 instead of 1985 when the crime was committed. From 2023, rather. The court disagreed with Daigle and affirmed her sentence.
Well, arrests have now been made following a drive-by shooting in Saco this February. The shooting in broad daylight led to a crash on a busy intersection, a shelter-in-place order, school lockdowns, and a massive police response. Anna Kuhn has more from Portland, including details on the charges.
Law enforcement say all 3 suspects have been indicted on charges relating to the shooting, and they say that investigation led them to uncover a drug dealing ring in Saco. Police say all 3 men involved in February's drive-by shooting were firing at dueling drug dealers in another vehicle. That incident then led to a car crash where all 3 suspects ran from the scene, spurring a massive police hunt. Since that incident, the FBI has been working with local agencies to uncover a cocaine drug ring run by those suspects. The accused men are identified as 19-year-old Joshua Estrada, 20-year-old Giancarlo Sabrante, and 18-year-old Jason Johnson Rivera, all from New Bedford, Massachusetts. The 3 suspects have all been indicted on felony charges of conspiring to distribute cocaine and perpetrating a drive-by shooting.
Violent drug traffickers have a corrosive effect in our community. Their crimes affect people's peace of mind and quality of life. Know that we are committed to making it safer for the folks who live, work, and visit here.
Today was the first court appearance for Joshua Estrada. He appeared in this Portland court today for his arraignment, where he pled not guilty. The other two suspects are currently in prison in Massachusetts for unrelated charges. They're both scheduled to be arraigned in Maine next week.
The Maine Supreme Judicial Court has also upheld the conviction and sentence for a Stockton Springs woman convicted of beating to death her 3-year-old son. Jessica Williams was convicted of depraved indifference murder in the death of her 3-year-old son Maddox in 2022. She was sentenced to 47 years in prison. Williams had appealed the conviction to Maine's highest court, citing multiple arguments to include the improper admission of evidence pertaining to previous abuse of her son, lack of evidence she had directly caused Maddox's injuries, and testimony related to her lack of communication with law enforcement. She also argued that if none of those arguments stood on their own, the combination of all three constituted a violation of her due process rights. The court rejected those arguments and upheld both her conviction and sentence.
Well, Bangor police are looking for a suspect following a stabbing on Union Street last night. Sergeant Jason McCambly says they got the call a little before 6 p.m. and when officers arrived, they found a 43-year-old man bleeding profusely from his arm. McCambly says the officers applied a tourniquet and he was transported to a local hospital for treatment. That man is still hospitalized in stable condition. Now, the victim and witnesses told the officers that the man had been arguing with a woman on the sidewalk. They say a car that was going by pulled over and a man that was inside got out and started arguing with the victim. They told officers blows were exchanged and the suspect allegedly stabbed the victim, who was in a wheelchair, got back in the car and left the scene. Witnesses told police the alleged suspect was wearing a tan or cream-colored hooded sweatshirt with the hood pulled up. Police are now looking for a red Chevy sedan with a rear spoiler, sunroof, and mismatched rims. If anyone has information about the alleged suspect or the vehicle, they're asked to contact Detective Jordan Perry. That number is 947-7384. You can dial extension 5736.
In other news, Senator Susan Collins is warning Mainers to be on alert for a new phone scam. She says it involves someone pretending to be a U.S. Marshal or other government official by spoofing actual U.S. Marshal phone numbers so they'll show up on caller IDs. During some of the calls, the scammers claim the potential victim needs to immediately pay a fine or face consequences such as arrest or loss of property or bank accounts. In other calls, scammers will promise to send money if the victim pays a fee. Once the fee is paid, they claim the IRS has stopped the payment from reaching the victim. Collins says federal officials will never ask for your credit card or debit card numbers, wire transfers, or bank account information.
Well, Maine's food insecurity rates are on the rise. That is according to new data released from Feeding America's annual Map of the Meal Gap study. Good Shepherd Food Bank of Maine is reporting that population level rates of food insecurity grew from 10.5% in 2021 to 13% in 2022. They say that means an additional 35,000 people in Maine were struggling to find money in their household budgets for food. According to the food bank, 1 in 8 or 180,000 people in Maine experienced food insecurity in 2022, and 1 in 5 of them were children. Good Shepherd expects even higher rates of food insecurity when data from 2023 becomes available.
With less than a month to go before Maine's GOP congressional primary, candidate Mike Sobolewski made several stops in Piscataquis County to speak with small business owners and potential voters. Our David Ledford has more from the campaign trail.
State Representative and congressional hopeful Mike Sobolewski toured parts of Piscataquis County Thursday. He says he's committed to economic growth and community engagement in the region.
This is the heartbeat of America. This is homeland Maine right here. A lot of hardworking people in this area, and I want to make sure that they understand that I'm a candidate and I'm a person for everybody.
Thursday's campaign schedule included stops in Dover-Foxcroft, Parkman, and the Red Maple Inn in Guilford, where the owners formally endorsed Sobolewski.
I just felt that Mike had very good credentials. He's also a veteran.
He's very family oriented, and he understands what families need and don't need, and he wants to protect our gun rights.
At the start of the tour, Sobolewski also announced that a coalition of business owners across Maine has officially endorsed him for Congress. And locals who came out explained why they'll be voting for the 2nd Congressional District candidate.
As a veteran myself, I feel that he's very, very relatable. He's got a great deal of experience under his belt. He takes that life experience and those principles that we hold so dear down with him to Augusta.
Mainers will vote between Sobolewski and Republican State Representative Austin Theriault in the June 11th primary.
We need everybody to get out, get to the polls, register your vote early, get down to your town office. If you can't make it, get an absentee ballot.
In Guilford, David Ledford, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
The city of Bangor has taken some new measures to reduce populations of brown-tailed moths in city parks. Our Callie Warren explains.
While this caterpillar may look small, it can do serious damage. Hairs shed by the brown-tailed moth caterpillar are known to cause painful rashes and respiratory issues, and the insects are prevalent in parks around Bangor. This tree right here is home to a large population of brown-tailed moths. The City of Bangor's Public Works and Parks and Recreation departments have been hard at work curbing that population.
What we did was injections on the trees, and that injection goes underneath the bark. The pesticide moves up through the bark into the leaves, which is what the caterpillars are eating.
City officials say that the injection methods are the best choice for area parks.
So for the city's perspective, both from the Forestry Division of Public Works as well as Parks and Recreation, trying to find an approach that best treats for what we can and still maintain the integrity of our city parks.
Bangor residents that have experienced the dreaded rashes say it's both a relief and a necessity.
I think it's probably a step in the right direction, honestly, because if you don't take care of it, then it's just going to get worse over time. Everyone wants to be outside, but nobody wants to be outside if they're going to have to deal with stuff like that.
City officials advise residents to be cautious of their surroundings, but don't let the pests dissuade you from enjoying Bangor's beautiful parks.
When you look at these parks, this is where we've actually designed space for people to congregate and recreate. So we're trying to treat trees that are infected in those areas to make it safer for our residents.
For more information or to report brown-tailed moths, head to bangormaine.gov/moth. In Bangor, Callie Warren, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
And unfortunately, only parts of today were really conducive to getting outside to do those types of things.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It was a really nice start to our day. The sun was shining.
Yeah.
But we all kind of knew what was lingering and heading our way, and we experienced those rain showers this afternoon.
Yeah, it sounded more like just people dumping buckets.
It did.
Outside, it was pretty heavy for a while.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and get a first check of our forecast and see what else is coming tonight.
All right, thank you. Your first weather is brought to you by Physical Therapy and Balance Centers, providing relief to people who are experiencing issues with pain, dizziness, and balance. Physical is spelled different because they are different, and we have temperatures like this. Talk about today. 75 here in Bangor, 71 for Bar Harbor, 74 Millinocket. This is looking good, right? Tomorrow will probably be a bit cooler. Same thing for us on Saturday, followed by what could be temperatures near 80 early next week. Across the area today, clear skies early, followed by some cloud cover, and then some thunder showers out there. They're not moving very quickly at all either, so when you got on one earlier today, it likely gave you a brief heavy rain. Those are diminishing out there now. Tomorrow is going to be a very nice day before our next weather system gets in here later in the weekend. Our forecast, though, tonight, though, is partly cloudy skies, low temperatures near 50. Your full forecast is coming up.
Alrighty, Jeff, thanks so much.
Indeed, and still to come on Fox 22 News at 10. Every year, one outstanding community member is honored at the Golden Eagle Award Dinner in Belfast.
And the National Guard and other local first responder agencies conducted a yearly mass rescue drill. We'll have those stories and more when we come right back.
Tired of your internet service constantly letting you down? Those other providers may promise the world with their flashy advertisements, but are you truly having a good customer experience? Fear not, because there's a new player in town. Introducing GoNet Speed. No more endless hold times or automated responses. We're here to listen, support, and provide you with the exceptional service you deserve. Our fast, reliable fiber internet, it's mind-blowing. Let us show you what true internet satisfaction feels like.
Maine's #1 Kia dealer, Van Sickle Kia, makes driving a new car affordable. Right now, lease a brand new Kia Forte for just $199 a month. You get 41 MPG highway and tons of technology. Or lease a brand new all-wheel drive Kia Seltos for just $259 a month. Or buy a brand new Kia Sportage for under $30,000. And best of all, every new Kia at Van Sickle comes with Kia's 10-year or 100,000-mile warranty. The best in the business, making driving affordable at Van Sickle Kia.
The best cars, the best prices, and the best warranty. I'm Peter Van Sickle. I guarantee it.
And Doug.
Limu, someone needs to customize and save hundreds on car insurance with Liberty Mutual. Let's fly. Chief?
Doug.
Oh, wow. I thought you were right behind me. Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Hood is the cottage cheese lovers love. Start with our award-winning country style. It's delicious on its own, or like this. That. Even, sure. Plus, it's got more protein than hummus and less sugar than yogurt. Then there's Hood's flavors. We expertly blend in real fruit or savory herbs for an unbeatable taste combination you can't recreate at home. Now that's cottage cheese. Hood cottage cheese. Always good, always Hood.
The baddest superstars on the planet are unleashed in prime time. Listen to this place. All new Friday Night SmackDown at 8/7 Central on Fox.
Hello, I'm Emma Smith, and coming up on Good Morning Maine, all the latest from court on the testimony from family members of the man who committed the Lewiston mass shooting. Plus, despite a harmful fungus killing them off, brown-tail moths are still giving people problems already this year. We'll hear what can be done. These stories plus that full weekend forecast coming up on Good Morning Maine.
Welcome back. ATV riders across the state are gearing up to hit the trails again as the season is about to kick off. However, there is a lot to think about before getting back on the machines. Our Grace Blanchard spoke with a local game warden about keeping yourself and other riders safe this season.
ATV season is about to be in full swing as many trails across the state will be opening this weekend. Maine Game Warden Rick Willett says some of the trails may be in rough conditions after getting hit with multiple major storms during the off-season.
Some roads and trails have sustained some damage. You might want to kind of think about that before you go on your trip.
Before hitting the trails, it's important to keep up with vehicle maintenance.
Although ATVs do not require the standard vehicle inspection, Willett says it is important to have it serviced at least once a year.
You don't want to let somebody either borrow or use a machine that the brakes are soft, or a sticky accelerator. It could mean tragedy for somebody.
To help ensure rider safety, wardens will be out around the trails. And this year, through a trade program, Friend and Friend Motorsports is donating a brand new Kawasaki UTV to the Warden Service.
It's nice to be able to know that we can help them get out there and do their job just a little bit easier.
Willett says this will help them reach more people in remote areas during rescue operations.
It's going to be huge, especially if we bring taking victims out of the woods and covering ground that we wouldn't be able to cover, especially with some of the trails we have.
Wardens say safety should always be a top priority when on the trails.
At the end of the day, these things are made to have fun with. They're made to go out and have a good time. We certainly don't want to turn a great day into a tragedy.
For more safety tips, visit our website, foxbangor.com. In Ellsworth, Grace Blanchard for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Certainly a timely reminder there. Well, it's an important part of keeping Maine's coastline safe. Today, the Coast Guard conducted its yearly mass rescue training operation with other agencies. Station South Portland was in the northern part of Casco Bay today, working with the Chesapeake Ferry and other first responding agencies for this annual exercise. The mass rescue training used 149 oranges representing people in distress as part of their drill. This exercise helps participants be ready for whatever may come their way.
We exercise our assets pretty much every day in conducting rescues out in the water, as well as all of our assets. So this is kind of just another drill for us to make sure that we're fluent in working with each other as opposed to just working with, say, our Coast Guard personnel.
Participants also spent the day yesterday holding meetings and going over procedures as they prepared for today's simulations.
Really interesting to get an up-close look at how they stay prepared there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's certainly not a big secret that they go through a lot of trouble, you know, to sort of stay prepared for all of the types of things that they might come in contact with.
Oh yeah, they certainly do.
Absolutely. Well, coming up on the 10 p.m. news on Fox 22, Israel has pushed further into Rafah, cutting off many Palestinians' only exit to Gaza.
And Russian President Vladimir Putin meets with Chinese leader Xi Jinping after concerns of China and their economic support of Russia. Those stories and more when we come right back.
Hey Dad, look,
Us.
this is the magma chamber.
This isn't us, is it? When did we get so connected to our devices and so disconnected from each other?
She's not answering.
What? And when our phones have turned us into this, LT, what do you do when you're a company that sells them?
We gotta fix this.
It's time to find what we're missing. Join us in taking a break from our devices. Take the phones down for 5 challenge for 5 days, 5 hours, or even just 5 minutes. Feels good. And let's find us again. US Cellular, built for us.
Our biggest challenge? Uncertainty. Hidden fees, surcharges, who knows what to expect.
Turn shipping to your advantage
Keep it simple with clear upfront pricing.
with USPS Ground Advantage.
Breathing Claritin Clear is like feeling the breeze instead of feeling congested. Fast relief of allergies with nasal congestion so you can breathe better. Claritin Plus Decongestant. Live Claritin Clear.
Introducing Tailwaggers Mobile Pet Grooming. We bring the salon to your doorstep. With Tailwaggers, your furry friend receives top-notch care and attention from baths, haircuts, and nail trimming. We do it all. Say goodbye to stressful trips to the groomer. Tailwaggers makes grooming a breeze. Tailwaggers Mobile Pet Grooming, where convenience meets quality. Book your appointment today because your pet deserves the best.
Who has the best kept secret in Penobscot County?
We do!
Welcome to Maple Lane Farms, a 5th-generation family farm that's committed to providing you with the best quality products. Our farm-raised local and sustainable meat is flash frozen to lock in the freshness and natural flavors. Experience the top-notch quality of our meat that's naturally raised without any antibiotics or hormones. Get the best of both worlds, quality and affordability. Try Maple Lane Farms today, the candy store for the carnivore.
The Lucerne Inn and Ryan's Pub is world-renowned for beautiful dining with a delicious view, offering a safe, comfortable atmosphere, providing an intimate space for reconnecting with loved ones, family, and friends. It's a true destination dining experience, featuring award-winning dishes from executive chef Arturo Montes, and Ryan's Pub, serving traditional pub food with a modern twist. Whether it's a special occasion or any occasion, the Lucerne Inn is the perfect choice for your business or family gathering.
You're watching Fox 22, Bangor.
Israel says it's sending more troops into Rafah and is continuing to wear down Hamas terrorists. This comes as the U.S. military finished the installation of a structure designed to get more humanitarian aid into Gaza. Fox's Trey Yingst has the latest from Tel Aviv.
After weeks of construction, the American floating pier off the coast of Gaza is complete, while aid trucks are expected to pick up new deliveries of supplies in the coming days. The project is drawing backlash from some Palestinian civilians.
I strongly object to these ships and the American ships.
Despite allowing more aid to enter Gaza, Israel has expanded strikes against the Strip in recent days, going after Hamas on the ground across the Palestinian territory. At a hospital in central Gaza, injured patients wait, some for treatment, others to leave the enclave.
We hope that you'll be able to open the Rafah border crossing for humanitarian cases so that they can receive treatment and be provided with medication.
This Palestinian mother pleads to Israel as she tends to her injured son, Mohammed. Israeli forces have pushed deeper into Gaza's third largest city of Rafah in recent days, the move cutting the only exit for Palestinians from Gaza and forcing hundreds of thousands to evacuate further north. Newly released satellite images illustrate the movement of civilians, showing recently cleared tents and encampments. The Israeli military says the evacuations are necessary as intense battles against Hamas in the south of Gaza rage on. The militant group is continuing to launch new ambushes against IDF troops using their network of tunnels.
Several tunnels have been destroyed by our troops, and additional tunnels will be destroyed soon. This activity will intensify.
Currently, there are key disagreements in the Israeli war cabinet about the next steps for the war in Gaza. Amid those discussions, there are determinations being made as to what should be done about the ongoing threat from the Lebanese militant group Hezbollah. In Tel Aviv, Trey Yingst, Fox News.
Well, for the past week, Ukraine has been fighting off Russian troops moving into its second largest city, Kharkiv. But NATO has assured the ally that help is on the way. Fox's Connor Hansen with that story.
Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky made a trip to the front lines in Kharkiv, trying to boost morale for troops fighting off the Russian advance. There have been reports about Russian drones hitting the city Thursday. Zelensky says Ukrainian troops have been launching counterattacks since the advance started last week. During his visit, he handed out awards to injured soldiers and thanked the units still in the fight.
You didn't let the enemy break through. You are strong warriors, as well as other Kharkiv warriors who fight in other brigades defending their homes and all of Ukraine.
The visit comes as Russian state media reports retreating Ukrainian forces shelled a Russian town across the border from Kharkiv. NATO officials don't think Russian troops are capable of advancing much further than the border areas. The alliance is promising help is on the way in the form of ammunition, missile defense systems, and armored vehicles.
The Russians don't have the numbers necessary to do a strategic breakthrough. We don't believe, more to the point, they don't have the skill and the capability to do it.
The New York Times also reporting NATO wants to send forces to Ukraine to train more troops, something that has the potential to draw the alliance into the fighting. The U.S. has maintained it will not send troops there. The U.S. State Department also approved the sale of hundreds of millions of dollars worth of military equipment to Ukraine. In New York, Connor Hansen, Fox News.
Meanwhile, Russian President Vladimir Putin is meeting with Chinese leader Xi Jinping this week. It comes as China faces growing questions about its economic support of Russia. Fox's Greg Palcott has that story.
Chinese leader Xi Jinping and Russian President Vladimir Putin promising to strengthen their partnership in Beijing on Thursday. The two leaders meeting in a show of unity as they face rising tension from the West.
We will continue to act in unison for the successful development of the two countries and to increase the authority and influence of Russia and China in the world.
The two-day visit is Putin's first overseas trip since he began a fifth term in office. It also comes as Russian forces ramp up an offensive in Ukraine, driving thousands of people from the Kharkiv region. After more than 2 years of war, Moscow has grown more dependent on China, which has become a top market for Russia's Western-sanctioned energy exports.
Russia has been shut off from exporting oil and natural gas to the Western Europe, and so now they're having to look at other markets.
Beijing has also been supplying Moscow with technology, electronics, and machine tools, which Western leaders suggest are being used to aid battlefield efforts against Ukraine. The Biden administration has imposed a series of sanctions on Chinese companies accused of helping Russia's war effort.
They don't provide the weapons end state, the platform itself, but they provide a lot of the components for it. And to keep an army on the battlefield requires a lot of things other than weapons.
In a move that could further test ties with China, the U.S. is sending an unofficial delegation this weekend to the inauguration of the new president of Taiwan. In London, Greg Palcott, Fox News.
President Biden asserted executive privilege over the audio of his interview with the special counsel concerning his handling of classified documents. Now, House Republicans want to hold the president's attorney general in contempt of Congress. Fox's David Spunt has more.
You guys are not doing oversight, you're doing overkill.
A tense hearing today on Capitol Hill as Republicans and Democrats fought over whether to hold Attorney General Merrick Garland in contempt of Congress. In a party line vote, the House Judiciary Committee voted 18-15 in favor of holding Garland in contempt after he refused to turn over audio files of the interview between President Biden and then Special Counsel Robert Hur last October.
They're going to reveal whether Special Counsel Hur's assessment was correct and our president mishandled classified documents, or it will reveal he's incompetent.
Hur investigated but declined to criminally charge Biden or anyone with a crime after classified documents were discovered at multiple properties connected to the president.
What high-profile witness would ever voluntarily cooperate with a law enforcement investigation if they knew that audio files of their conversations would be released to committees who are seeking those files for purely political purposes?
Hours before the hearing, the president invoked executive privilege over the audio files, keeping them away from Congress while legally protecting Garland, who today told Fox News he's not afraid.
We have gone to extraordinary lengths to ensure that the committees get responses to their legitimate requests. But this is not one. To the contrary, this is one that would harm our ability in the future to successfully pursue sensitive investigations.
The next step in the process is to bring the contempt matter to the full House floor for a vote. House Speaker Mike Johnson said today that he doesn't have any sort of timetable and did not give any information about if or when that would even happen. Sure. In Washington, David Spunt, Fox News.
And still to come on Fox 22 News at 10, the creator of Ozempic is saying they're now looking into other possible health benefits from the drug.
And in sports, Bruins are 1 day away from a pivotal Game 6. Hear from head coach Jim Montgomery ahead of tomorrow's clash. That story right after the break.
Memphis, Michigan. Touchdown! Then Arlington, San Antonio. My goodness! The United Football League on Fox.
Fires, floods, burst pipes. Disasters happen, but the mess they leave behind doesn't have to last. For 40 years, Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration has been there to help Mainers get back to the closest to normal as they can. When your property is at its worst, Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration is at their best, and they have been for 4 decades. Put your trust in the Bouchard team. Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration. You keep the memories, we'll handle the rest.
Come bowl a few games here at Bangor Brewer Bowling Lanes. We're one of the only Candlepin bowling alley centers in Maine, conveniently located in the heart of Brewer. You always have the opportunity to simply bowl for fun. However, you can also join a league. We have youth leagues, adult and senior leagues. Now don't forget, we also host birthday parties for under $100, and gift certificates are also available. Give us a call right away at 989-3798 to make reservations for your birthday party today.
Refine, your local expert in window and door installation, carpentry repairs, and commercial facilities management. At Refine, we're proud to offer Maine-made Paradigm windows crafted with care and precision to ensure quality and durability like no other. From quaint cottages to bustling businesses, let us refine your space with our signature Maine-made touch. Trust Refine to exceed your expectations every time. Contact us today and let Maine craftsmanship elevate your home or business. Rise with Refine.
Hanks Husqvarna is your trusted full-line Husqvarna dealer, offering you everything you need for your outdoor projects. From high-performance lawn tractors and zero-turn mowers to chainsaws, trimmers, battery-powered and powerful snowblowers, we have just what you need. Every piece of equipment is fully set up, serviced, and ready for use by our certified Husqvarna technician. And all sales are backed by our in-house Husqvarna warranty. For parts, service, or new equipment sales, make your way to Hanks Husqvarna in Carmel or Newport.
From the land to the sea, Chase's Family Restaurant is the place to be.
Are you looking for a place to unwind after a long day?
Then come check out our Hideaway Lounge.
With a bar that's both upbeat and laid back. And it's the perfect atmosphere for anyone who wants to unwind after work.
Or kick it up for the weekends with daily drink specials and a full dinner menu.
You can fill up on a good time any night of the week.
Thank you for being a part of our family.
Here at Chase's Family Restaurant.
Welcome back. Ozempic maker Novo Nordisk says it will study the effects of the drug on alcohol cravings. Fox's Jonathan Siri is in Atlanta with the latest.
With an estimated 1 in 8 adults today using Ozempic or a similar glucagon-like peptide drug.
I use it as a tool.
The company behind the popular medication used for diabetes control and weight loss says it's now studying the possibility of additional benefits, including whether the drugs can improve liver health. A newly announced trial led by Novo Nordisk is looking at the impacts of the drug on alcohol-related liver disease. Although cutting drinking is not the study's main goal, already several separate clinical trials examining whether semaglutide, the active ingredient, reduces cravings of alcohol, have shown positive results.
It's exciting.
At Oklahoma State University, the director of the Biomedical Imaging Center says its study found the drug appears to remove the pleasure received from drinking alcohol.
Most of these patients were on fairly low doses of semaglutide, and that's important for thinking about long-term treatment.
Yet taking the drugs does come with the risk of side effects. The most common, according to Ozempic's website, include nausea, stomach pain, constipation, and diarrhea.
But there's so much that people need to know about the drugs that isn't in the kind of public debate yet.
The new trial is expected to conclude by September of 2025. In Atlanta, Jonathan Siri, Fox News.
Well, Walgreens says it's going to enter the market to fight opioid overdoses with its own version of a known antidote. The national chain of drugstores says it will soon offer a cheaper generic version of naloxone, an antidote used to reverse the effects of opioid overdoses. Walgreens says its version of the nasal spray drug will cost $34.99, and its brand will be cheaper than Narcan, which is the brand name of naloxone. Narcan currently retails at Walgreens for $44.99. Narcan was originally a prescription drug, but was made an over-the-counter medicine in March by the Food and Drug Administration.
All right, and we talked about it a little bit before. We'll have all the details on our full 5-day forecast after this.
Yep, stay with us.
Temperature is back up in the 70s today, but tomorrow could be a bit cooler, followed by even warmer temperatures are on the way. But when will it rain again? Those details for you when I come back.
Protect your vehicle from rusting away with Bell's Automotive Protection. We are the leader in mobile undercoating and rust proofing in Maine. We'll travel right to your driveway using the best and safest products on the market. This is much safer than rubberized coatings that can cause damage later on. We spray all types of vehicles, including commercial fleets. We all know vehicles aren't cheap anymore. Don't let the harsh winter chemicals eat them away. Call us or visit our page for a free quote. 207-659-3805.
It was one thing when my mom got Alzheimer's, but then we started noticing things that seemed off. She developed agitation that may happen with dementia due to Alzheimer's disease. Sometimes she'd fidget with her fingers, get suddenly overwhelmed, and even throw things. And that was just never her. So we asked her doctor what else we could do.
Rexulti is the only FDA-approved medication proven to reduce agitation symptoms that may happen with dementia due to Alzheimer's disease. Rexulti can cause serious side effects. Elderly dementia patients have increased risk of death or stroke, report fever, stiff muscles, and confusion, which can be life-threatening, or uncontrolled muscle movements, which may be permanent. High blood sugar, which can lead to coma or death, weight gain, increased cholesterol, low white blood cells, unusual urges, dizziness on standing, falls, seizures, trouble swallowing, or sleepiness may occur.
Rexulti helped reduce my mom's symptoms.
Take action for your loved one. Ask their doctor about Rexulti.
Why should your new floor come from Carpet One? Because we're passionate about the spaces our neighbors call home. We're part of your community, and we're also part of the world's largest cooperative of independently owned and operated flooring stores. So you can be sure you'll get great selection and outstanding value with every installation. Whether it's carpet, hardwood, tile, or luxury vinyl, our experts take the guesswork out of choosing the right floor. We're your local Carpet One Floor and Home, the one store for your perfect floor.
Here we go. Your full weather is brought to you by Refine Contractors, your local expert in window and door installation, carpentry repairs, and commercial facilities management. Give them a call today. Rise with Refine. Let's talk about the weather. Look at these highs. Highs 75 here in Bangor today, 74 in Millinocket. Even with a couple of thunder showers across the area today, we made it into the low to mid 70s for highs, and there's a lot of heat to go around. We're building summer-like temperatures across the plains and south right now, and that's going to begin to make a run for us next week when temperatures could get close to 80 degrees midweek next week. Until then, though, the wind is dying down currently. That will give us a good chance for some dense fog tonight, especially well after midnight into early parts of tomorrow morning, because the wind goes calm tonight, comes back tomorrow out of the southwest around 10 miles per hour or so. Not a very windy stretch at all. And then tomorrow, too, is die down tomorrow night, giving us a chance for some dense fog late tomorrow night. Across our region today, some sunshine early, then some cloud cover, and then some thunder showers. The problem was these things weren't moving very quickly at all. They're collapsing out there now. But if you got under one of those, you had a brief period of heavy rain and some lightning and thunder out there as well. But again, they're dying out now. Tomorrow, though, is going to be a bit different. There could be a rogue thunder shower in the area once again, as there's kind of an unstable air mass across our region currently. A better chance for rain gets in here later in the weekend from this system here behind it, that system there. But overall, a kind of a dry stretch of weather outside of a couple chances for a few thunder showers later tomorrow and then again on Saturday. Looking forward, though, you can see temperatures out there looking pretty good. Tomorrow, highs back near 70. And then here we are tomorrow evening, 8 o'clock or so. A rogue shower can't be ruled out with lots of clouds across the area as well. Tomorrow night, same story. Here's Saturday. A couple areas of rain showers can't be ruled out. Most of us will stay dry on Saturday. That quickly gets out of here by Saturday afternoon. Sunday looks dry and sunny across our region, followed by another chance for a couple rain showers getting in here later on Monday. But again, this is not going to add up to much at all. We're talking maybe a tenth to a quarter of an inch of rainfall between now into Monday of next week, except for more areas along the coastal areas could see a bit more than that, especially later on Saturday. Okay, if you're sniffling and sneezing, this could be a reason why. The tree pollen, moderate to high category out there now, likely getting even higher this weekend into next week. Our forecast then for tonight, though, is partly cloudy skies. Some dense fog is likely. Low temperatures are not so low temperatures down near 51 with a calm wind out there now for tomorrow. All right, partly cloudy. There could be a sprinkle in there. I went with mid-70s tomorrow. It could be a bit cooler with a southeast breeze around 5 to 10. And then looking ahead, your 5-day forecast shows tomorrow 75, a bit cooler for us on Saturday and Sunday. Lots of clouds Saturday, less clouds on Sunday. Monday, though, 74, and we could touch 80 on Tuesday afternoon.
Wow.
Alrighty.
Yeah, so the warm-up is real. It's here.
Yes, it's coming. If you haven't put your air conditioning units in yet, you might want to get around to that.
Oh, yeah.
Indeed. All right. Well, sports is coming up next. Keep it right here.
Ugh, when is my allergy-spray gonna kick in?
You need Astapro.
Astapro?
It's faster, bro. 8 times faster than Flonase.
It's faster, bro.
It's faster, bro. It's faster, bro.
It's mom to you.
Astapro starts working in 30 minutes. Astapro and go.
Breathing Claritin Clear is like feeling the breeze instead of feeling congested. Fast relief of allergies with nasal congestion so you can breathe better. Claritin plus decongestant. Live Claritin Clear.
Mesothelioma is more than a ravaging illness. It is a disease that can ruin a family's finances and is never the victim's fault. The law offices of Joe Bornstein has been fighting and winning for Maine families for nearly 50 years, and we've collected over $500 million for injured Mainers. If you or a loved one is a victim of mesothelioma or asbestos-related lung cancer, call Joe today for a free case evaluation and to learn about your family's legal rights. Dial 207-CALL-JOE or online at joebornstein.com.
Planet Oats so creamy and not watery like...
Exactly, and unsweetened has 0 grams of sugar.
And don't forget, it's an excellent source of calcium. Wow, Planet Oat really has it all. You guys are so right. No, you are. No, you are. No, you are. Yeah, you are.
Are your basement walls bowing, crumbling, or failing? Hi, I'm Tony Hafford with TC Hafford Basement Systems. All things basementy. Our Stable Lock wall system offers a patented, affordable, and permanent solution to save your foundation walls. It stabilizes, fills voids, and structurally repairs, leaving a new smooth surface. All the strength of new walls. Call TC Hafford Basement Systems today for all things basementy.
Tonight Sports is brought to you by Engstrom's Auto Service in Guilford. We specialize in all foreign and domestic service and alignments.
Welcome back in, everyone. Thank you for staying with us. We're going to start with some hockey. The Bruins and the Panthers will resume their Eastern Conference semifinal series tomorrow night at TD Garden, with the Panthers up 3-2. The two teams getting an extra day of rest after the Bees gutted out a tough 2-1 win in Florida on Tuesday night. The Bruins were in Florida's skates last season, up 3-1, only to lose 3 straight and see the Panthers advance. I know that memory hurts, but the Bees are confident they can return the favor thanks to a renewed optimism and the amazing play of Bruins goalie and former Black Bear great Jeremy Swayman.
He's been fantastic, since day one of the playoffs. He's been incredible for us, and he just, in between timeouts, he comes by the bench, and he doesn't talk to the bench, but just the way he carries himself, there's a confidence and an air about him that he's invincible, which makes us really confident that we're in a good place. Like the pulled goalie situation, I was behind the bench, I'm like, they're not scoring. We have Swayman in nets.
That's exactly how I felt, too. Let's head over to the softball diamond now. Top seed Husson softball starting NCAA regionals at O'Keefe Field on Thursday, putting their 30-game win streak on the line against the 4 seed in the regional, Framingham State. This game was scoreless through 4 innings, so we'll pick it up in the 5th. 1-0 Framingham. Michaela Rooney at the plate. She jets one to center. That's going to get over Katie Raymond's head. 2 runs come in to score. It is 3-0. I like those uniforms, too. Bottom 5, Husson's Lydia Rice up. She flies out to left, but Josie Cornell on third. She scores easily on the sac fly. 3-1 now. Bottom 7, same score. Kiara McLeod on with no outs and a runner on. Lines one right to Kelsey McGill, though. She steps on first for the huge double play. Rams go on to win 3-1. Husson back at it tomorrow at 1:30.
I didn't expect them to win every game, but I expect them to play to win every game. And boy, they've done that. And it's not over for us. Not by any stretch. This team has always been resilient. They're going to come back fighting. Yeah. I know that for a fact.
To Mahaney Diamond we go now. Maine baseball closing out the regular season with a series against Albany. They need to win 2 of 3 to get into the America East playoffs. Game 1 on Thursday afternoon. Great Danes also need to win the series to clinch their playoff spot. Albany up 1-0. Levi McAllister at the plate, and he crushes this one. Actually, this one is going to get down for a double in left field. That's going to clear the bases, and that's going to make it 6-0. That was Luke Filippi who wrote that double. And now it is going to be, the story of the day was Dylan Banner for Albany. He gets Jeremiah Jenkins swinging for a strikeout there. And the 7th, he went 8 innings, 10 Ks, 2 hits, and 1 run. Bottom 9, though, Jenkins at the dish, and this ball is gone off the scoreboard in right. That's going to cut the lead in half. It is now 6-3. Bases loaded now. 2 down, tying run at first. Will Burns chops one to short. Cooper Loyal gets him by a step. Maine falls in this one. 6-3 is the final. Let's stay on the diamond now for some high school action, a Class D matchup over on Broadway in Bangor Thursday with Bangor Christian hosting Penobscot Valley. Patriots looking to break a long losing streak here. Bottom 4, BCS is up 3-1. Camden Perkins rolls one through the hole. Drake Nash is going to come around and score. Rounding third is Zach Chadbourne. There's a play at the plate, but he is safe. 5-1 Patriots. Bottom 5, 7-1 now. Howlers pitcher Matt Hatch is going to get Sam Cormier looking for the strikeout. Later in the inning, John Benjamin with a pop fly just beyond the infield. That is going to drop down. Chadbourne is going to score to make it 8-1. Finally, Perkins again coming through with a bouncer into center, and that is going to be Nash crossing home to make it 9-1. Bangor Christian wins 9-4. All right, and while that was going on, Patriots softball hosting the Howlers as well. First inning, no score. Penobscot Valley's Julia Young with a ripper to center. Emma Potter and Lila Cummings score to make it 2-0. Later, Abby Farley with the bases loaded drills one to center. That is going to clear the bases after some trouble. Howlers lead 6-0. Top second now, 2 outs. Young is going to ground one to Taylor Townsend. She flips it to Debbie Farris at third to get Nicole Solomon and end the inning. Top of the 4 now, PVHS's Lauren Vino hits one well into right center. Young scores to extend the Howlers' lead. They go on to win it 17-0. And that is all the time we have for sports. We'll be right back after the break.
Your best days of the year start here at Kubota Orange Days. It's the year's biggest selection of Kubota tractors, zero-turn mowers, and utility vehicles, including the #1 selling compact tractor in the USA. Plus, get 0 down and 0% APR for 84 months or up to $2,800 off select BX tractors. Orange goes all day. Sales ending soon. Visit your local dealer today.
Introducing Tail Waggers Mobile Pet Grooming. We bring the salon to your doorstep. With Tail Waggers, your furry friend receives top-notch care and attention from baths, haircuts, and nail trimming. We do it all. Say goodbye to stressful trips to the groomer. Tail Waggers makes grooming a breeze. Tail Waggers Mobile Pet Grooming, where convenience meets quality. Book your appointment today because your pet deserves the best.
When we say it'll be on time, they expect it to be on time.
Turn shipping to your advantage.
Keep those expectations with reliable ground shipping.
Thanks, Brandon.
With USPS Ground Advantage.
Breathing Claritin Clear is like feeling the breeze instead of feeling congested. Fast relief of allergies with nasal congestion so you can breathe better. Claritin Plus Decongestant. Live Claritin Clear.
Summer's here, and with a new Toyota, you can capture all the summer fun. Wow. My favorite party trick.
College students and recent grads could get a $500 rebate over and above most other offers. Toyota, let's go places.
The furniture revolution continues at Dorsey's, and today it's all about sectional sofas. Big sectionals, little sectionals, reclining sectionals, sectionals with hide beds, chaise lounges, even cuddlers. Heck, we even have sectionals with dog beds. When qualified buyers combine our great sectionals with 24-month 0% financing, they're easy to own too. The sectional revolution is in full bloom at Dorsey's, so what are you waiting for? Be comfortable, my friends.
Are you one of 50% of Americans who can answer this correctly?
Let's look at the answer. 7.
It's not about what you know.
Oh my goodness.
It's how you think.
Do not feel ashamed. You're as stupid as I am.
The 1% Club premieres Monday, June 3rd on Fox.
The $1 Million Music Game Show returns.
We need you to remember the lyrics of the song.
Don't forget the lyrics. Premieres May 23rd on Fox.
Well, sheep are back on this New York City island for the 4th year in a row. What are we talking about? Well, these animals made the journey down from Albany, New York to Roosevelt Island on Thursday to spend their summer snacking on the island's invasive plants, and they're pretty good at what they do. Since the program began in 2021, the sheep have eaten more than 14 acres of non-native vegetation. The 5 sheep making New York City their home for the next few months are Chad, Evening, Philip, Aries, Bowie, and Jupiter. And by the way, Roosevelt Island, a small island in the East River between the east side of New York and Queens, in case you didn't know.
Doing an important public service there. Meanwhile, Husson University is furthering its commitment to sustainability on campus with a new initiative that aims to give dorm furniture a second life while raising money for student groups. The university is selling its old dorm furniture at costs ranging between $5 and $25. The director of facilities says although the furniture is no longer usable to them, they're still in great condition, and they're always looking for new ways to repurpose the furniture. All the money raised will go directly to the Alumni Association Initiatives Fund, a new program that aims to support student clubs and organizations as well as other campus initiatives.
As the furniture in the dorms reaches end of life, usable life for Husson anyway, we look at avenues of trying to partner with somebody to dispose of it or get second use out of it.
This was a collaboration between myself and Chris Bennett in maintenance, and we realized that there was an opportunity to continue our sustainability initiatives here on campus and create a positive impact for our students.
The sale will continue for at least a few more weeks. All furniture sales must be done by appointment only. The university hopes to continue this new collaboration annually and possibly expand it to selling other old campus equipment and furniture.
It's a sign that the summer season is just around the corner. Beals Lobster Pier opened for business today. Celebrating 92 years of business, the Southwest Harbor staple is excited for the season ahead, especially after those storms that ripped through the state last winter. Luckily, the damage to the pier was minimal and will have little to no effect on this year's business.
Honestly, just the basics of being here, being fortunate enough to open, to still be here after the winter we all just went through. Just being able to serve lobster rolls and have our guys go fishing and being able to ship all over the country this year again is really just it for us.
Well, for Beals Lobster Pier's hours of operation, you can feel free to check them out on our website.
Every year, the Waldo District Scouts honor an outstanding member of their community with a Golden Eagle Award dinner. And this year was no different. Our Doug Banks sat down with the award recipient and shares his story.
Because of the generosity of the people in Waldo County that kept us going. So now it's time to pay them back.
Born and raised in Waldo County, Larry Jones built more than his life here. Founding Whitecap Builders over 40 years ago, his carpentry skills have been put towards the good of his community. 20 years ago, the Belfast school system looked to build a new middle school on a piece of land owned by Larry and his wife Sharon.
So I stood up at the meeting and said, well, if you people vote to put the middle school out there, then we'll give the Y 3 acres of land out here.
And when the pool was being added to the Y, Jones orchestrated the construction from what he calls
the Cloffice. Most of the credit goes to my wife. I was here, I don't know, 12 hours a day probably. She picked up the pieces and carried on life like it needed to be.
Going beyond the YMCA, he's helped build 5 houses and a restore for Habitat for Humanity. And his efforts for public service stretch past our nation's border. On September 1st, 2019, Hurricane Dorian swept through the Bahamas, leaving behind devastation and lives lost.
It was like a freight train going by for, like 2 days straight.
In 2 weeks' time, Jones, along with a crew of 6, packed their bags for the small Bohemian island of Luber's Quarters.
When something bad happens, you can't just walk away.
Ironically, Jones was in the Bahamas when he got the call about being the 11th recipient of the Golden Eagle Award.
I'll be 100% honest, when I first got the call, I almost didn't accept it.
Over 10 years ago, Jones gave his Eagle badge back because of the Scouts' stance on gay rights.
The Scouts wouldn't change their philosophy of not letting gays into scouting or into the leadership program, which now is 100% changed. They've mended their ways, and I have.
We are blessed with a number of people that are like Larry Jones, and Larry's the epitome of it.
As the night came to a close, a dinner in his honor brought a community together.
It's nice to be recognized, but it's different when you're sitting at dinner with a bunch of your peers and waiting to see what they're going to say.
I'm just very proud to be here, proud of him.
In Belfast, Doug Banks, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Definitely a main hero right there.
Yeah, someone who's just devoted himself to giving back. Love to see it.
We do love to see it. Alrighty, folks, that's going to do it for us. Good night.
Good night, everyone.